Thank you very much for your presence here today, because it is a great day. Thank you very much, Methodos, to celebrate this day for Toni. I'm not alone. I'm with Francesco Rotolo, CEO at Storyfly.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be with you today, leading this very special birthday party.
Yes, it's a great day, a special day for a special man, a special friend. And Toni, please stand up and enjoy the greetings.
A big round of applause for Toni Muzi Falconi. You know, Toni, today being here is particularly a pleasure because not only you are a great professional and amazing researcher, but maybe for most of the people here in this hall, a dear friend. You are a dear friend. And that's why I think today is a special occasion, because, of course, we wanted to celebrate in Toni Muzi Falconi style. So a normal birthday party was not enough. Why not to turn it into an international symposium about PR? Of course, that's normal, no? It's Toni Muzi Falconi style. So, from now on, everything that happens here is your fault. When it comes to Toni Muzi Falconi, the first word that it comes to my mind is unpredictability.
Oh, I agree with you.
A show hand, who of you never had this feeling? If not a little argument about Toni. Come on, don't be shy. No? The point is that Toni, this is, I think, your mark of genius. Just the capability to go outside of boundaries, the capability to cross different disciplines. And so, in this particular celebration, let's have a look, Sarah, at our soirée. Let's see the agenda.
Yes, first of all, we have to remember that we are not alone here, but we are with more friends that are connected by Zoom, on Facebook, and YouTube. And thank you very much for... Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do you see?
We have all the friends there.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. And thank you to Methodos in particular. Particular thanks to all the perfect organization, and thanks to Martina Danda.
Martina Danda. We wouldn't be here on this stage if it wasn't for Eren Lara.
She's there. Okay. Francesco.
I say that we could start.
Yes.
What do you say? Okay.
And the first step of our program is connecting with Emilio Galli Zugaro, the president of Methodos. Hi, Emilio.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a great day today. Look, I have a Methodos sweater just for Toni.
Thank you very much for your presence. Then, it's your moment.
As a child, I heard all of these stories about the Muzi Falconi family, and especially great stories about Marian, Toni's English mother. The Muzi Falconi and the Galizugaro families had their family palazzi facing each other in a town called Popoli on the river Pescara. When I was a teenager and a young adult, my father and three of my uncles worked in marketing and public relations. And as much as the four boasted about themselves, all of them looked up to their faraway cousin Toni as the guru of the profession. Many years later, our common friend Björn Edlund reconnected us through the Arthur Page Society when I was working at Allianz. Toni involved me in the Global Alliance for Public Relations and introduced me to the lighthouses of international public relations. He has done his fair share to get some parochial dust off me. Then I had the fun to work with him, Jim Grunig and Joao Duarte, on a book on stakeholder governance. That book has prompted many educated discussions with public relations professionals like Richard Edelman or governance icon Mervyn King and other people. I have definitely disappointed him in all those interactions, but nothing to be ashamed about. Toni is a mix of the highest level of the profession on one hand and an unforgiving critical spirit on the other hand. Criticism that has always started with the nobility of self-criticism. And people not on eye level with him might feel out of place sometime. but not with Toni. The good thing is that he has always a wise smile and a humorous, ironic smirk on his lips, and he knows how to deal with human weaknesses and forgiveness. One day, Toni asked me whether I could imagine to lend a hand to Metodos. Well, when somebody like Toni asks you something like this, and if you're not a fool, you say, yes, let's explore, which I did with Filippo, Livia, and Sabrina. Both the centripetal, the attractive force of Toni, and the challenge of a company devoted to help people shape instead of suffering cultural change in organizations, well, there was no room left for me to say no. And I'm sure everyone in this room has similar stories to tell about Toni's influence on their lives. Toni, one of your foremost qualities to me is your far-sightedness, even though I'm well aware that for others, this might seem like a deficiency. You see things before the rest of us does. And therefore, we sometimes don't understand, or we have to admit that our horizons are narrow. I followed a little bit of what you did in the last 10 years, and I must tell you, you put a lot on our plate. We're going to chew it, at least for the next 10 years. Please, Toni, don't stretch us. Allow us to chew the pieces of meal you have provided us with. It is so embarrassing to see that 20 years younger people than you pant after you and struggle to cope with your questions, your views, your comments. So I'd like to close with an appeal to all those who are present tonight. Get inspired by Toni's vision. He has left us with all it needs for us to become better public relations professionals, better leaders, better public people, better politicians, and establish an adult conversation with our stakeholders in order to become better at what we do. It's a privilege to have you as a friend, as a mentor, an innovator, a person living simultaneously in two life ages, with the spirit of a 20-year-old and the experience of a Methuselah. It's a true advantage for all of us to be able to enjoy both of your life ages. Buon compleanno, Toni.
Thank you, Emilio. Thank you, Emilio, for your passionate testimony. Now we have the first video in our program because we prepared some surprises or some contributions regarding Toni's birthday. Many of Toni's friends, such as scholars, professionals, educators, politicians, and students from all over the world, 5 continents, I think, Toni, 4, answered his call to provide tokens of friendship. How? Of course, again, in Toni Muzi Falconi style, in the form of short video contributions about PR, exploring the underlying theme that change is more likely to happen in private, public, and social organizations, where communication and listening with are the principal tools. At the same time, the civic governance of stakeholder relationship systems is the main methodological approach. So this video contributes, which we collected during the last weeks, recall episodes inspired by this concept, in which all the speakers were involved at different levels with Toni over the 6 decades of his untiring activity. Regarding this first group, we decided to title this PR and Organization, to start with one of the key points of Toni's commitment. Toni, after all, fought his whole life against the idea of a corporate communication somehow detached from the strategy and the agenda of the board, instead pursuing a model, an idea, in which PR are a crucial function inside the structure of organization. It's the very foundation of their license to operate. So, without any further hesitation, let's watch to the first video.
Ciao tutti. Hello everyone. I'm Don Bates. I'm in New York City on a beautiful June day. The city's coming back. People are in the streets, the parks are just alive with life. And I hope that's happening in Italy and the rest of the world. Regarding the assignment for this video, I really can't speak to a specific project that Toni and I worked on. But I can tell you that after sharing many, many morning coffees with Toni while he lived in Manhattan with his lovely partner, Simona, I began to sort of significantly change my views about professional PR's role in the world and about its global growth and its reach, I guess you could say, and relevance. More specifically, Toni's ideas have given me a more kind of invigorating perspective on PR practitioners and also PR educators. Until a few weeks ago, I taught at New York University for many years, and Toni taught there as well. That's where we first bonded, so to speak. Whenever I met with Toni, we always had stimulating conversations about the PR profession as well as life. I challenged him, he challenged me. But he never let our disagreements strain our relationship. Toni has always been, as most of you know, a consummate gentleman. No matter how long I talked his ear off, and anyone who knows me appreciates just how much I can talk someone's ear off. If you visit New York City, you will see a lot of people who appear to have on earbuds or some kind of hearing aid, but in reality they're earplugs, and they probably either come from a meeting with me or they're about to meet with me, and they're kind of getting ready to help avoid going deaf from all I say. The good news is this video is only supposed to run about 3 minutes. Toni, I honestly miss our conversations, and I think of you a lot, especially when I sit in my local coffee shops thinking about a lot of things, but public relations in particular, and its role in helping to keep it simple for corporations, government agencies, and nonprofit organizations, despite kind of the cacophony of misinformation and political pandering that seems to be so prevalent today. If you were here, I know you would give me a lot of stimulating ideas and certainly help my understanding. Buon tantissimo compleanno, happy 80th birthday. Hugs and kisses to you and Simona, your admiring friend Dawn. Ciao, ciao tutti. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, Toni. I first met you when I was hiring PR agencies in key countries where AT&T was building its presence, including Italy. Your agency had just been bought by Shandwick, and I remember you thought even your well-run, cost-effective agency had become more profitable and better using Shandwick's methodologies. That's when I started appreciating what a willing learner you are and how much I'd be able to learn from you. What I was still discovering myself at this time was that the biggest teaching and change job before us was inside AT&T. It was a giant company with a name everybody in the U.S. knew. What they, including most AT&T people, and particularly a U.S. public relations department with every resource at their disposal, what they didn't know was how minimal our resources were and how clever and thoughtful we had to be in allocating those resources, because our big name meant nothing in countries other than the U.S. I still remember the day that I discovered the great ATT building in Tokyo meant Akasaka Twin Towers. There is no question that we changed things in that corporation for the better. By listening both outside and inside the company to people who knew what was going on, as well as to those whose perceptions were wrong, we were able to shape our communications and relationship plans to get us closer to our goal. For years thereafter, you and I spent time together whenever we could arrange it on our schedules, especially after you moved to New York. I richly appreciated the opportunities to lecture to your New York University class, brilliant and challenging students, obviously learners themselves. We've appeared together on programs around the world, and I've been a speaker at many programs you've put together. Even when we had different world views, I like to think we've listened and learned from each other. I know I feel that way about the relationship.
Toni, my dear friend, happy birthday to you. May you have a wonderful day. I remember well the great meals you and I have had together in some of your great Italian restaurants, and the work we've done together on public relations in the interests of good governance around the world. And as a matter of serendipity that I'm sending you this message for your birthday, when it appears you and I will be working together again on the International Advisory Board of the FERPI Lab. I really look forward to that, my friend. I hope you are keeping well and you've had your vaccinations to protect you from this terrible scourge that we are all suffering from. Have a wonderful party and the best of luck for everything you do in the future, especially all endeavors where you and I are working together. Have a good day, my friend. Bye.
Kia ora, dear Toni. Wishing you a very, very happy birthday. I hope you enjoy your celebrations. And it's wonderful to have this opportunity to wish you a very happy birthday and also to spend a moment or two reflecting on the many years that it's been my privilege to know you. I think we first met online, as all the best relationships start these days, but our online meeting was through your Toni's blog when it was in its infancy. From there, I think we became firm friends, listening to each other's ideas and exchanging views on public relations, communication, and the influence that it has on changing society and changing norms. It's been an absolute delight and, as I say, a privilege to be your friend and also on many occasions to act as your colleague when we've worked together on things like the Stockholm Accords, Melbourne Mandate, Global Alliance Business, and other events around the world. It's a shame that I can't be there in person to wish you well and give you a birthday hug, but be assured that from the distance of New Zealand to you there in Italy with your family and your friends, the warmest, warmest wishes are coming to you. I hope you enjoy your celebrations and that the years ahead are as interesting, challenging, and stimulating as the years that have gone before. Much love, take care, and I look forward to writing and working with you again soon.
Hi Toni, unfortunately I cannot be with you today, but regarding change, the first thing that comes to my mind is that you changed my life, at least my working life. When we met, I think in 1974, I was trying to work as a macroeconomist for an important business association. I don't know how the idea then came to you, but you were so convincing that you induced me to try my hand at the fascinating in speech mark, let's say, world of communication. And I didn't regret it. Since then, we have lived through plenty of changes together, sometimes peaceful, sometimes turbulent. Business, do you remember the idea of a widespread entrepreneurship, imprenditività diffusa, cultural and professional change? On the first of these, I have never had an inferiority complex. On the second also, On the third, and you know that I say this to you without any sense of sycophancy, you have done more than anyone in our profession. And all of us, really all of us, owe you something, even when your ideas were perhaps too far ahead for the times, or, please excuse expression, just a bit off the wall. Remember everything which we have changed together would mean compiling a long and pointless list. But for sure, you have won a lot of battles together. We have won a lot of battles together, and some we have lost. Some you have won and I lost, some I have won and you lost. However, all of them were worth fighting. Perhaps the most important was that on focusing on the word communication, that derelict word which can have any meaning you want, but which, above all thanks to your commitment as a professional and as an academic, has become an essential driver of change for companies, institutions, and organizations. Today, without doubt, in the world of communication, everything has changed. Indeed, it is so quick that it seems to get away from us. If I think back, and I often do, to what we said, what we wrote, to the instrument we use, it seems almost impossible to me. I don't know if you struggle to keep up with these changes. I certainly do sometimes, but without any nostalgia for the past, and always with great, indeed increasing curiosity. You have always been more of a visionary than me. So, I believe that you already be thinking about what communication will be like when we'll celebrate your 100th birthday. Best wishes, dear Toni. My heartfelt best wishes.
Thank you. Beautiful words, Toni, for you. Beautiful. No? You agree? Okay. A mentor, a man, a friend, and a father. So let me introduce Filippo Muzi Falconi, CEO of Methodus Group. Wow. Hi, Filippo.
Dear Toni, dear Dad, this context is quite exciting for me. So please sorry me, but I will read my short speech. I'm honored to have been your son for the past 54 years, always free to make my own choice and find my way. No pressure, no expectations, just a role model. Free to start my professional experience in your agency, but also free and supported when after a few months I realized that it was not challenging enough environment for me due to being your son. You directed me to what then became my love, my passion, my life, professionally speaking. You suggested that I come to Methodus in 1989. I was just a young guy. That was a good suggestion, though. I made my career in Methodus, not receiving any direct prize from you, but receiving many indirectly from you. It was perfectly in line with your way of being. 15 years later, I received a call from you to tell me that Giorgio Del Mare had proposed you to join Methodus in order to enrich our approach to change management, which until then had been very oriented within the organization. And I perfectly remember that you called me to ask for permission to accept the proposal and to find out what I thought of it. You know, at the time, in the end, I had never worked with you. It was a good opportunity to do it. I must admit that Giorgio Del Mare had a good idea, and the contribution you made has certainly enriched our approach to change by opening it to external stakeholders and making it truly distinctive on the market. But if I may have my say, this was not the biggest contribution you brought to Methodos. The most valuable one was the affective and emotional accompaniment of the whole Methodos team in these years of great challenges. You have been a reference. You have stimulated and challenged us. You have made us think and reflect, but you have also cherished us, and you are still doing it. I want to thank you in my name and the whole Methodos team for what you have done so far. And I want to close my intervention with a different message from the ones we have heard together. For sure, a message of enormous esteem, but also an invitation to you to take it easy. Not to take yourself any more personally in charge of the evolution of the profession. To no longer feel responsible for the future of public relations, but mainly take care for yourself and for your loved ones. All my best, Dad.
Many thanks, really, for your words. I can add anything after this. Okay, now we have the second cluster of video. We entitled this one PR and Society. To point out a second fundamental line in Toni research. If the governance relationship sometimes is difficult inside the organization, when it comes to govern the relationship between different social actors, both from the private and public sectors, it can become a huge challenge, especially when diversity comes into the equation. Well, Toni always embraced this challenge with all himself and committed I think, most part of his professional life in his provocative way, untiringly building the ground on which dialogue can truly prosper and blossom. So, in recent times, for example, Toni's efforts are focusing amongst many, too many interesting topics on the concept of social weaving as a set of generic principles and specific applications dedicated to the generation of social capital. So let's watch together to the second video about PR and society.
Hello, Toni, and many congratulations on this, your big birthday. It's my great honour to have been your friend for 20 years now. There have been so many precious and standout moments in that time. Difficult to pick one, but I'm going to. And it's the World Public Relations Festival in Trieste in 2005. It was a huge, joyous, sometimes controversial occasion where we looked at the theme of diversity, a topic ahead of its time. There were three themes actually in the conference, and the first one was about communicating for diversity. That was really asking questions about the purpose of our profession, that we're here to connect, that we're here to actually build a better society as we understand others and embrace them and build a better world together. The second topic was around with diversity, and that was recognising the variety of stakeholders that we connect with, and they are ever extending. And it was about engaging with them on their terms, walking in their shoes. The third topic was communicating in diversity, and that recognised that the context around us is constantly changing, and we have to understand the new tools and channels that are at our disposal so that we can communicate in appropriate ways with those who want to communicate with us, to make sure that nobody is excluded, so that everybody is spoken to in the way that they wish to be spoken to and that they are listened to. And at the heart of this conference really were those things about listening, about respect, about understanding, about communicating with, not to people. And the preciousness about that conference was that it made us understand that there is something more in our working lives than just working on behalf of our organisations. We have a bigger purpose, which is to build everyone's life, which is to build connection, and which is to build society. And at the heart of that were your sort of touchstone words: listening, understanding, walking in other people's shoes and respecting them and responding to them. That was a precious thing. So for me, that conference typified you, Toni. It was all about being ahead of the game, being brave and bold, about making things happen and making a difference. You have made a difference, my friend, and continue to do so, please. Happy birthday.
Dear Toni, I would like to get back to our memory that morning of Saturday, February 10, 1990, at 8:30, in the hall of a theater nearby the Italian House of Parliament, you and 4 other guys had convened a political meeting for doing political work in the post-communist era. The Berlin Wall had fallen 3 months earlier. And you said, I asked you, I would like to talk, I would like to speak from the podium of this political meeting. The theater was full, there were 1,000 people. And you said, what do you want to say? And I said, I want to speak about culture of implementation and how executive politicians feel themselves as legislators more than implementers of laws. And you said, okay. And you let me speak from the podium. And that was an important moment in my life. And the second time, more than 10 years later, I asked you again, Toni, I would like to do something in politics or something. And you said, work on corporate social responsibility, and work for and maybe the website of the public relators will be interested in publishing something from that. And 20 years later, that was 2003, and 20 years later, I am still working on corporate social responsibility. So thank you very much, Toni, for being a beacon of what to do and for advancement and for thinking and for conversation with me and with you in your life and in my life. Thank you so much, Toni. Thank you so much.
Toni, a name and a guarantee. If you need some help in getting in touch with anyone or to find a solution of a communicative problem, Toni, you are the one who should be called on. I still recall when we came together in early 2000 to discuss the lack of research on PR in the Italian context. Despite the fact that professional Italy as a rich context for different PR activities, and surely can offer also a rich setting for studying and developing theoretical knowledge. You have been so central in pushing me to study how Italian professionals and journalists see and work with each other, a work that has culminated in a giant publication and seeded the road to more study in the Italian context. And look now, we do have a small but growing community of PR scholars in Italy. But Toni, that was not all. You have also been fundamental in opening the doors of many international connections and in supporting me in weaving the relationships. Indeed, my friend, over the last 20 years we have known each other, you have always been very kind, helpful in guiding and mentoring me. And so you did to other professionals. For you, it was not just preaching a better stakeholder relationship governance. It has been about living and walking the talk as we speak. It has been about driving the professional community towards less self-interested goals for more human and societal ones. So what's the best way to celebrate and remember your legacy than thinking at your key role as a promoter of more equal, attentive, stakeholder-oriented communications? There are so many challenges ahead for our profession. From the increased diffusion of fake news and misinformation to the rise of stakeholder activism and increasing stakeholder expectation towards corporations, but more in general organizations and their involvement with big questions. Questions like climate change, unprecedented immigration flows, wars and conflicts, and equal rights across diversity, gender, and ethnicity demands require big attention. Your personality, your charisma, and your talking it through as bold as I can be, never pretending or bragging, but through a genuine listening, trying to find the best course of action. That's you, Toni. I'm so lucky to have met you, and I very much look forward to start new professional and intellectual venture with you. Because Toni, yes, time passes, but you have so much to give that you are not allowed to stop right now. Lo brehao nadrut, lo brehao nadrut, lo brehao na Toni, lo brehao nadrut.
Buongiorno di Parigi, carissimo. I'm so happy that somehow I was offered the opportunity to be with you on this beautiful occasion, your birthday. You know that you mean and you have meant so much in my life. I remember and I will never forget how you were our mentor and guardian angel when we tried in the 90s and in the 2000s to build the public relations industry in Romania. I will always remember when you were such a kind host and friend in New York, inviting me to the New York University to your class of International Public Affairs, and we had so much fun, and I saw how the students adored you. And I will always cherish our jazz nights at Jazz at Lincoln Center when we used to meet all these jazz musicians such as Monty Alexander. I wish you from the bottom of my heart all the possible happiness, joy, peace, love, and vigor. And since nobody will sing you in Romanian, happy birthday, I will do it for you. Mulți ani trăiască, mulți ani trăiască, la mulți ani. Toni să trăiască, Toni să trăiască, la mulți ani. Buon compleanno, caro amico. Ti amo bene, sei meraviglioso. Grazie. Ciao.
Marcello, come here.
Okay, Sarah, now it's probably the most weighted moment of our kermesse because it's your time, people. It's your moment. It's up to you now.
Yes, because it's the moment of the open session. Now we are really curious to listen about your life with Toni. So first of all, we go to
any
please,
consideration,
yeah.
comments, or just to show your affect to Toni? Please be polite, avoid swearing, cursing, bad language. Try to be kind. It's a birthday party after all. And we should already have some contribution from Zoom.
Yes,
booked?
and
okay.
the first one is Roberto Zangrandi. Hi, Roberto.
Hi, Roberto. We cannot hear to you. Cannot hear you.
Yes, here I am. Ciao Toni, buon compleanno, davvero. Many happy returns, as one would say. And I'm sure that you will reach your 100th birthday. Just a couple of things. Everybody has said already many things that also apply to me in terms of affection and acknowledgement and really gratefulness for all what you have been representing for me in my life. But I was just considering in the past minutes something curious, and just thinking back to the here, 45 years I've been knowing you. 45 years I've been knowing you. Well, I realized that many of the so-called sliding doors or important moments of change in my professional life are due or have passed through you and through our relation, and most of all, through the great respect that you always have been showing towards my decisions. I was really very young when I met Toni in the first office of his PR company, SCR, in a side street of Corso Magenta in Milano, with a bunch of youngsters playing at the public relator in the Milan of the 70s, and it was an astonishing meeting. And he helped me and respected me as a let's say a beardless journalist already, and then. He was politely, after 1 or 2 years, he was politely inviting me to join his company as a young public relation, a junior in the public relations. And when he heard that I wanted to stay in journalism and carry on with that career, well, he did a simple thing. He met at the airport an editor-in-chief of the then leading monthly magazine for economics and management, and told him, why don't you hire the guy? And I was hired, as simple as that. And I've come to know this important piece of my life years later, but it went that way. And then he respected me once again, not only when I wanted to be a journalist, but respected me once again when, at a given time in my career, I decided to welcome an offer of Giorgio Del Mare and join the initial staff of Methodos. We were 5 at that time, and he tried to tell me, well, but why don't you consider to be a PR rather than a consultant? And I told him, well, no, this is very interesting. I'm very puzzled and very much interested in this media training that we started to deliver and sell in those years to the companies and managers. And some of them have been conducted really with Toni, very high-end managers of the 80s in the Italian financial scenario. That was extremely interesting. And once again supported me when I left Methodos to join Fiat. And once again when I left Fiat after a dozen of years, he welcomed me back to Methodos. Not only that, but he shared with me his office and his desk in Rome. And that was more than a friendly move and a friendly action that you gave me, Toni. Thank you very much for that. It was very important for me to reacquire visibility on the Italian market, and then all my evolution has been there. And one of the 2 last ones are very, important to me is following. First, when I started following and establishing the corporate social responsibility practice with Enel, well, Toni was key in making contacts with the big gods and gurus of public relations internationally. And I distinctively remember one day with an aperitif in the Galleria of Milano, where he told me, yes, but okay, good. Yes, it's nice, this CSR report of yours. Yes, but what about the triple bottom line report? Well, that was the initial step of ESG, and I did not understand that at that point because I was lingering on the success of the initial formula that we had found, but he was right. And last thing he handed me on there in Udine.
We are sorry.
Thank you.
Finish quickly.
Yes,
but I just wanted to thank for handing me over his chair at the Udine University in Gorizia, and to follow him as professor of public relations there. Thank you, Toni. I owe you most of my life.
Thank you. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you very much. And so we remember you to leave short messages, so can we allow everybody to do the same. Yeah. And the next one, we go to Portugal with João Duarte. Hi, João.
Let's keep it international.
Yes. João, okay.
Hi, João.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody, and thanks, Sara and Francesco, for being such wonderful hosts.
Thank you.
And giving your shine to Toni's birthday. Happy birthday, my friend, Toni. I hope you are well. I cannot see your face. I wish I could. But I can see a wonderful packed room with a lot of affection for you, the same that I have. I've written more things that I could ever possibly express in this short time. So let me just go to the most important ones. And I think it's kind of the same feeling that Roberto expressed. I think you touched a lot of people in so many ways. And I'm hearing this from everybody that has spoken, that I guess none of us would be the same without having had the chance to meet you. And now I know, because it's also my mother-in-law's birthday, and I wouldn't be the same without my mother-in-law as well. So you are two very important persons in my life, and I owe you a lot. To you, Simona, to your generosity, to your intellectual honesty, to your curiosity, which is, I think, probably one of the things that kept us together so long in this time. I think your intellectual heritage is immense. I think it's kind of a serendipity moment, and the sliding door when I met you and Fabio in 2004 in Bled, and your knowledge about relationships collided with my interest and curiosity about publics. And that kind of created a big bang for me personally, from an intellectual point of view. And that's where I believe my interest in researching the publics and in, let's say, following the leads of your ideas on relationships and matching them was kind of a stream of research. I was a practitioner, a student, and a professor at that time. And it couldn't have been more stimulating to me, the chance to meet you at that time. So I think I have to say a big thank you for all of that. I remember that we met, and I then invited you to my marriage in Portugal. You couldn't come, so you invited me to stay with you and Simona in Rome. And that was actually the first time I visited Rome, and then we also spent time in Porto Ercole. And we didn't actually knew each other that well, but the easiness of getting into a relationship with you was great. And then from then onwards, we shared so many friendships. I was trying to do a list of all the cities where we met and where we were together, and I couldn't, Milan, Barcelona, Trieste, New York, Lisboa, Bled, Roma, and so on and so forth. We met a lot of the world, even Cape Town, South Africa. And to me, you were always there when we met on all of these occasions, and it was always fun and engaging. So now, I'm in Portugal, but I live in Italy. I hope to see you in Italy soon. My kids and my wife sent you a video. Please reply, because the kids are waiting for your reply. And love and many, many best wishes.
Thank you, Joao.
Thank you, Joao. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we come back in Italy with Livia Permattei. Livia.
The stage is
Hi,
yours.
Francesco, thanks so much. Hi, Toni. I was thinking about your birthday today. I went back 32 years to 1989 with my fresh thesis on nonprofit management, and my economics professor did not know what nonprofit was. You did. Luckily, I had the chance to be introduced to you, and you were already in 1989, when I was 24, creating hyper-innovative campaigns, PR campaigns, that were activating win-win partnerships between multinational and nonprofits. I remember you when I came to work with you for my first job. And I clearly see you around the table in the large meeting room at night with us youngster professionals, going around the table to prepare press kits. And you were so clearly inspiring what a boss should do, to turn around the table late at night and prepare press kits with us. And beside this, you've been inspiring my life, my professional and personal life throughout. I still work with you. You are my mentor. And I really thank you so much for inspiring me, many youngsters that you found on your way, and for still inspiring and mentoring my research and work today on whatever I do. Have a good birthday with Simona, your beautiful family, and thank you for everything, Toni. Happy birthday, buon compleanno.
Thank you,
Ciao,
Livia.
Livia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Wow.
Then, Martina, can you help us to facilitate our speakers?
Yeah, you do not have to come here. We will bring you the microphone, so don't be shy.
Yes, and the first one is Gianpaolo Azzoni.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Qui voglio ricordare una sensazione che dopo molti anni associo fortemente a Toni. Si era nella seconda metà degli anni '80, l'Italia scopriva sempre più l'importanza della comunicazione, ma mancava non solo una cultura della comunicazione, che forse sarebbe mancata ancora successivamente, forse manca tutt'oggi, ma allora mancavano anche le informazioni minime, le nozioni fondamentali, definite e accessibili. Mancava ogni know-how sulla comunicazione. Mi ricordo quando un mio capo di una grande struttura, di una grande organizzazione, disse che tutto il know-how che serviva per la comunicazione era contenuta nella rubrica del telefono. Ebbene, in quegli anni in cui io alternavo già università e professione, mi avvicinavo al mondo della professione a seconda metà degli anni '80, e la sensazione che voglio qui ricordare molto rapidamente, legata a Toni, era l'attesa di che cosa? L'attesa dell'arrivo di Scrap. Scrap, qualcuno si ricorderà di questa newsletter dell'agenzia SCR, già il nome molto bello, strategie, comunicazione, ricerche. Bene, in Scrap c'era quanto allora girava di più avanzato sul know-how della comunicazione, e io attendevo i vari contributi, ma soprattutto quelli di Toni, così ricchi di contenuti, intuizioni e linguaggio. Ricordiamo il lessico della comunicazione che poi raccolse come appendice di un volume. E dopo l'attesa la voracità della lettura di quella rivista, Scrap, 86-92. Bene, negli anni successivi non ho più dovuto aspettare la rivista per avere dritte prospettive sulla comunicazione, ma sempre da Toni ho avuto quell'apertura, quello sguardo, quelle conoscenze che cercavo e trovavo in Scrap. Buon compleanno, Toni, e grazie di tutto.
Thank you, Gianpaolo.
Thank you, Gianpaolo.
The famous
Amazing.
yellow pages of the communication.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Then it's time for Vincenzo Manfredi.
Grazie. Toni, buon compleanno. Io, rispetto a tante testimonianze fatte finora, conosco Toni da 15-16 anni. Forse ho incontrato prima Giorgio Del Mare, quando Metodos era consulente di Capitalia, delle relazioni esterne allora di Capitalia. Rispetto a tutte le cose sentite fino adesso mi preme dire questo. Toni, con me, con Francesco, con tanti altri, in Ferpi, con Rossella Sobrero, con Pia Gioppi, ne sta mettendo ancora di carne a cuocere. Abbiamo fatto Bled qualche settimana fa, ci siamo inventati un modulo del master in comunicazione e marketing politico alla School of Government della LUIS e adesso abbiamo lanciato Ferpi Lab. Mervyn King lo ha ricordato. Giampaolo adesso diceva che ancora molto allora, quando c'era quella newsletter, non si sapeva ancora molto della comunicazione. È vero, ancora oggi abbiamo da lavorare tantissimo e credo che Toni ha aperto la strada a tutti noi ed è stato un grande mentore, un grande maestro, un grande amico, un grande professore. E ricordo la mia prima lezione, grazie a lui, alla LUMSA, al suo corso, che appunto sarà 14-15 anni fa, e di questo lo ringrazio per la sua amicizia e anche per tutto ciò che di bello ci ha insegnato. Grazie Toni, tanti auguri.
Thank you Vincenzo, grazie.
Carlo Alberto Pratesi.
Yeah, there he is.
Ciao Toni. Visto che hanno iniziato in italiano, allora mi ero preparato l'inglese, ma ovviamente sono più fluent in italiano.
Ok, this is the Italian session.
Yes.
Okay, the Italian session. But, ci siamo conosciuti nel 1984 e tu lo ricordi? Io avevo preso un treno da Roma perché tuo fratello, Alex, aveva preso un appuntamento e io potevo così presentarmi al grande Toni. Il mio interesse era quello di entrare nel mondo della comunicazione pur essendomi laureato in economia da poco e quindi ero piuttosto emozionato e contento di incontrare finalmente Toni Muzi Falconi in un bellissimo ufficio Foro Bonaparte di SCR. Quando sono arrivato ho raccontato il mio curriculum, ero entusiasta e volevo fargli vedere quanto ero bravo e competente e lui alla fine della presentazione ha detto una frase soltanto: dovresti studiare ancora un po', torna all'università. Mi ero appena laureato, avevo fatto il militare, tutto volevo tranne che continuare a studiare, però con molti anni di ritardo posso dire che aveva ragione perché io poi ho iniziato a rifrequentare l'università, a collaborare con un professore che lui ricorda bene, Giorgio Eminente, e di fatto da quel momento in poi ho sempre diviso l'università con il mondo della professione e della consulenza. Ma non finì lì, perché poi per fortuna dopo 2 anni mi chiamò a fare una consulenza per il premio Philip Morris per il marketing, qualcuno che lo ricorda molto bene, che fu un progetto straordinario che mi consentì di entrare all'università e di conoscere tutti i professori universitari dell'epoca e da lì veramente iniziò la mia carriera e quindi se oggi sono professore e consulente devo dire è anche molto grazie a lui che è stato il mio primo e più importante mentore. Grazie Toni.
Thank you, Toni.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlo. And go on with a video, no? The last...
Unless there are
there is
other
someone else
contributions from the room. Yeah,
okay, one
there. Because we are warming up.
Yeah,
We are warming
yeah.
up.
Toni, non ho preparato nulla, ma andrò a braccia, volevo semplicemente, sarò brevissima, semplicemente dire, hai sempre battuto il tempo e con i tuoi 80 stai ancor più battendo il tempo. Io ti ringrazio perché, nonostante sia estremamente complesso lavorare con te, perché Toni è l'over-Kaizen, l'iper-Kaizen, mai soddisfatto, sempre team, incontri, non tanto di miglioramento continuo, ma un po' anche di mortificazione sul perché non era stata fatta meglio e di più una cosa. Io ti ringrazio perché mi hai dato la metodologia progettuale e questo è un qualcosa che poi è strettamente legato a tutto il tema dell'importanza degli stakeholder, dell'importanza del networking, che vale sempre e in ogni aspetto della vita. Quindi ti ringrazio e continua a batterci il tempo.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So anybody else? Okay.
Okay. And
I think that now we could launch.
We have a video.
Yeah, the video
an
from
Italian
Michele,
video.
an Italian video, just to stay in the Italian
Yes, we
session.
go on with the
from
Italian
Michele
session.
Mezza. This was quite sort of a surprise. Let's see it together. Watch it together from the stage.
SCR Associati, Foro Bonaparte 70 Milano, con tanto di archeologico numero di telex. Per molti di voi lontani ricordi, per alcuni intense emozioni. Per chi vi parla un vero e proprio esame di laurea. La lettera che vedete risale al 17 febbraio 1978, molte ere geologiche fa, eravamo un mese dal rapimento di Aldo Moro. Per me rappresenta una vera medaglia al valore. È firmata da Talla Marcantonio Muzi Falconi. In realtà fu scritta da un recalcitrante Fulvio Garbagnati che considerava esorbitante il compenso di 400.000 lire al mese lorde per ritagliare i giornali. Questa lettera fu il mio vero Green Pass, potremmo dire oggi, per entrare nel mondo di Marcantonio e attraverso quello nella professione che poi mi avrebbe fatto vivere. Per un giovanissimo giornalista debuttante, affacciarsi in quell'indirizzo Foro Bonaparte 70 era come per un bimbo entrare in un Luna Park. Stupore, meraviglia, ansia di conoscenza e iniziare un gioco a rincorrersi con Marcantonio che era sempre 10 metri più avanti a farti vedere la carota di un progetto, di un'idea, di una possibilità, ma con il bastone di una rigorosa pretesa di professionalità. Diceva John Lennon che la vita è sempre quello che ti coglie mentre stai facendo altro. Marcantonio per questo rimane un pezzo della mia vita. Grazie per avermi permesso di esserci.
Thank you, Michele. A message like a podcast.
Yeah, this was stay with me, Sarah. This was the last contribute in this open session. So now we have the last cluster of video contributions that came from all over the world. And we entitled this one PR and Academy to point out to one of the main line in Toni professional life, which is about, in fact, research and teaching. Truth is that Toni probably today is the most representative figure in the PR world worldwide who has been able to bridge the world of professionals and the world of academics. And this is not an easy task, as everybody of us know, which who stay with a foot in every one of these worlds. So yes. Toni really was an innovator in these two, and I think that both worlds got a great benefit from his contribution. So let's hear more about this directly from Toni's friends, and let's start with the third and last video. Thank you.
Dear Toni, happy birthday. I'm so honored to be included in your birthday celebration, your life celebration, and the celebration of your life's work, and to reflect back on the impact that you've had on my life, not only personally, but also in terms of my thinking and my own life's work. Anytime that I had an interesting idea, or at least I thought I did, I could not wait to run it by you. At the very least, I knew that it was going to be stress tested. I was either going to get greater clarity and validation, or I was getting a nice meal and good company. But no matter what, I came away from each experience with energy, vitality, and a greater passion and love for life, for ideas, and for the people in the world, both you and Simone, and the many friends that I made through you. I have truly missed having you here in New York City with me. You've been so much a part of my experience in New York, and it just hasn't been the same without having you here. And I look forward to every time when you return. There's so many other friends in New York that I would not have if it were not for you bringing us together. So today we were called to reflect on your contributions to the world and to the world of ideas. I chose the concept of global stakeholder relationships governance. Prior to meeting you, I never even heard of this term. And I'm not even sure if I have the sequence right. Is it global stakeholder relationships governance, stakeholder relationships, global governance, global relationships, stakeholder governance. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Growing up, I've always loved organizations. I was inspired by the idea that organizations exist to accomplish goals that individuals cannot accomplish on their own. And COVID-19 and the global pandemic have shown us that this idea does not scale anymore. And well, the reality is you already knew this. You're the one who first introduced this idea to me several years ago before the pandemic ever hit. There's this idea that, or the expression that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But as my wise grandmother back in Tennessee always said, no, but you could put salt in its oats. And that's exactly what COVID-19 did to the world and to the companies, was put salt in the world's oats. But I was very fortunate to get the message from you early on in a much more palatable way that was easier on the taste buds and good for the digestion. From our time together in New York, from our many dinner discussions together, and from your writing. COVID-19 has not only got me back into your work, thirstier than ever to embrace the idea of global stakeholder relationship governance, to unpack it, to help these frameworks and get them out into the world and make them more of a reality. And I want to close by just saying I thank you for your friendship, your counsel, your presence, your inspiration. I can't wait to see you again face to face, especially the eye part of the face. Thanks again and have a wonderful 80th birthday.
Dear Toni, you are one of my favorite interlocutors, and I always considered you to be one kind of a Niklas Luhmann of modern public relations. As Luhmann, famous German sociologist, rejected the old school European sociology that was looking for society in individuals, so you are co-responsible for relational turn in public relations research and practice. For you, the fundamental unit of study and practice of public relations is communication, relationships, not organizations and stakeholders. Societies exist only when stakeholders communicate, and the limits to our society are determined by limits of our communication and relationships. We live in a post-truth society, and we have to accept that fact. Truth is a function of authority, and authorities must actively legitimize themselves daily. They have to make sense. Only by accepting this communicative, relational turn can we hope to rebuild governance back into our society. Otherwise, we are heading towards chaos. I had a pleasure and privilege to discuss these ideas with you in this whole century and around the world. But I preferred Italy. Gorizia, Trieste, Milan, Rome. I'm happy to call you a friend, and you are one of those rare people that make one's life better. Tanti auguri, Toni, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere in person soon. Cheers and all the best.
Hi, Toni. Good evening. It's a pleasure being here celebrating your birthday. What a wonderful moment to join all your friends all above the world. I'm so glad that I've been your friend for more than 20 years. And I'm speaking on behalf of the School of Communication in Lisbon. You know that we have had a great pleasure in having you as our guest professor for so many years. But from Lisbon to Bled, to New York, to Rome, to Milano, and so many other places, my dearest memories are from New York. When you received me at your home, when you invited me to discover an amazing city. And today, as 20 years ago, we've discussed extensively your concept of communicating with. And I think that that's a marvelous concept that you have developed before so many others. It summarizes all the work we do in PR. We don't speak to, we don't speak for, we speak with. We are able to inform, we are able to share, we are able to negotiate meetings and platforms of understanding. I hope that we'll be able to go on discussing this and other concepts, both in Milano, in Lisbon, or who knows, maybe in New York again. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, with your friends, and wishing you a very, very happy birthday. Muitas felicidades e até breve.
Hi, Toni. This is your old friend Jim Grunig from the University of Maryland in the United States. We've been friends for almost 20 years now. We first met, as I remember, when you invited Laurie Grunig and me to speak at a conference held by FERPI at Ulam University in Milan in 2002. I wish you a very happy 80th birthday. You're becoming an octogenarian 9 months before I do, as I won't reach that mark until April of 2022. Ever since we've met, we've been colleagues and friends and have been together in many conferences and university classrooms ever since. Conferences in Slovenia and other parts of Europe, in Italy, and at PRSA in the United States. And we're very happy that you also served as a Grunig lecturer for the University of Maryland a few years ago. I've been asked to speak about what I've learned from you, and as I thought about it, I've actually learned a lot of things, but I think that we think so much alike, or our thought patterns are so similar, that we've really learned from each other mutually. We've shared many of the same interests and many of the same friends. In particular, if I think about my own research and my own theorizing, I think we've benefited each other most in three areas. In particular, we thought about the strategic role of public relations in organizational management, and the role of public relations in corporate boards and corporate decision making. I remember particularly your ideas about how to build research into the communication infrastructure of an organization as a way of organizational listening. I think your contribution to the literature and the thinking about organizational listening is particularly about the role of research. But then finally, your work on global public relations and your work on the idea of generic principles and specific applications, I think you've particularly clarified that concept. In any case, ours has been a very long-lasting and mutually beneficial relationship. We've welcomed each other into our homes. We've spent many hours talking on the telephone and in the classroom together. And I wish I could be with you in person at your birthday party, but I plan to attend virtually as much as I can. Again, it's been a wonderful knowing you for almost 20 years, and I hope we have many more years together on this planet. Bye.
Toni, happy 80th birthday to you. Please accept my sincere and heartfelt wishes on this special occasion. Since I study culture, as you know, I think you'll find it interesting that in Indian culture, in Sanskrit, we use the term Sahasra Chandra Darshanam to refer to the 80th birthday. It essentially means that when you turn 80, by then you will have seen at least 1,000 full moons in your lifetime. So that's a very, very special occasion for us in India. So this is a special occasion for you, and I'm glad to be a small part of the celebration. I have over the years seen you not only as a friend, but a wonderful and thoughtful colleague. Among other things, I have seen how you are a tireless advocate for strategic public relations. You have tried mightily to bridge the gap between practitioners and scholars. You are among the leading people who have a foot in both the practitioner world as well as the academic world. You have brought many innovative ideas to public relations. In particular, I can recall the 2006 event with the senior diplomats of the Italian foreign ministry that you had put together, and I was fortunate to be a part of that. Over many BLEDCOMs, you have brought in very, very interesting panels and contributed mightily to the discussions. I have seen over the years, now 2 decades, that you are always up to date with current thinking and current practice. So you have embraced change along the way, while also trying to champion some things that should remain as they are. So for both personal and professional reasons, I hope that in 20 years, we will be celebrating your 100th birthday. I would very much like to be a part of that. So let me again wish you a heartfelt happy birthday and hope to see you soon in person. Enjoy this special time and celebration, my friend. Bye.
Thank you, and go on with our program. And so it's a pleasure for me, for Methodos, to introduce you another friend, Carlo Alberto Carnevale Maffè. Hi, Carlo.
Thank you very much. Toni has never been at the center of anything. Because Toni is a man of borders. And after all, you know, centers are boring places. And Toni enjoys lively places. Because science of communication is the science of borders. And Toni is the master of crossing those borders, of shifting those borders a little bit more, of pushing those borders, if not destroying them. And that's the width that makes the difference. Not speaking to, not speaking of, but that width is the science of borders. And after all, the limits of our language are the limits of our world. And that's Wittgenstein's point, and that's my point, and that's his point. His fundamental point is that communication is building bridges. It's about building a new town. You know, I speak of Toni not as a friend, but as a master, as a maestro, as we say. A new Romulus. I don't know anything about your classical culture, but after all those Americans, let me, you know, glorify a little bit of our heritage, if you don't mind. You know, Romulus was not establishing Rome starting with the borders. It started with the Cardo and the Cumanus. And that's the syntax of a new town. And so I feel Toni as a new Romulus, you know, with this idea in mind that what matters is the syntax of a city. And then the borders are moving. And the borders of this new Rome have been expanding by embracing new cultures, new languages, new people. And that's Toni. Toni is a Romulus of the syntax of communication. And we owe to him this unfinished job of shifting borders ahead. Just another meter, another mile. So, Toni, thank you for this heritage. Thank you for dreaming ahead of us a world without borders. Thank you.
Wow.
Wonderful words.
Thank you, Carlo.
Wonderful
So,
contribution.
Romulus, come here.
Yeah, it's time for a very special guest now, no? I would say.
Romulus, Marcantonio, Toni
Yeah,
Muzi
it's
Falconi.
perfect. It's perfect. Toni, the stage is yours. Come on, my friend. Please behave yourself, be polite.
I give you...
Well, I mean, you can imagine my feelings inside, and but I do want to leave something which makes sense and not just emotions. And to me, what today is missing in not only my profession, but in the profession of everybody around here in this room tonight and elsewhere, anybody who tries to change what he or she doesn't like, whatever it is, and that is that we don't know how to evaluate the quality of relationships that we develop with our organizations, with our employees, with our friends, with our partners, even partners in every sense. And we don't know how to measure and evaluate. This is a fundamental task that we've been after for many, many years in different professions: auditors, financial people, PR people, consultants. Everybody is in the business of evaluating what the relationships are worth. And none of them have found a credible way of doing this. Now, of course, I know that there are some professions that are further ahead than others in this, and I think we should know them, we should learn from them, and we should criticize them. And that is the most important thing, because you can believe what numbers tell you, but if you don't know where those numbers come from, you believe in nothing. And I'm not, I don't want to get polemic or anything like that, or critical, but I think this is our most important task today. It will be different in 10 years' time if we find some sort of solution. Let me just give you one example, and then I conclude my talk. In 2006, there was a major crisis in the United States, but which came out also in the rest of the Western world, at least. And that, the auditors got a big beating from that crisis, which remained until 2010, 11, 12, according to how you calculate these things. And the auditors changed their way of their business. And today, the auditors are enormous players in the game of everything in this country, including politics, of course, and not citing, obviously, industry and financial markets, etc., etc. Now, the auditors did to themselves a terrible harm. They decided that they would change from 20% to 75% the value of non-tangible assets. And nobody took them to task. Actually, we as PR people were very happy with this, because it gave our role And a lot of other professions got a lot of benefit from that too as well. But how could it be credible to any reasonable person that such a thing could happen? It happened. The big auditors became bigger. They bought each other in and out. They're in advertising. They're in influencing. That's a new profession. They're in everything today. And we follow them as if we were, mices that followed the leader. I have nothing against auditors. I love them all. But still, it is so incredible. We don't believe what we're talking about. That's the biggest point. Okay, that's what I had to say. And I think that this is something which needs for every professional involved in anything that has to do with society, that has to do with frankness, that has to do with what we call truth. What is truth? I think that is what we are after, and I would hope very much that this range of group of people who are listening to me, are viewing me, or are in this room, and I love them all, I think they do need to speak about this, to think about this, and to criticize. If they don't criticize and they just say, hooray, that's not my game. Thank you very much.
Great, Toni.
Thank you, Toni, because your way is our way, is the music.
And we have also a bonus track
Yes.
about this. Or better, two final bonus tracks.
We listen
Am I correct?
first, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start with the first one. Toni, stay with us. Stay with us. Let's watch to it together. Come here, come here. Should start.
Dear Toni, one would not need 3 minutes, but at least 3 days to celebrate your 80th birthday. I suppose I have the privilege of being one of your oldest friends, having shared not only professional adventures, but also a long-time friendship. One for all, the Summit della Comunicazione in Naples, late 90s. If in Italy we have a strong PR representation, this is one of your achievements, Toni, during your long tenure as president of FERPI. If we have a say in all the major international debates, this too is your achievement. If you want to have a serious reference in the world of PR, we know that you are there to help. And personally, if I want to name one of my best multitasking friends, I have to name you, Toni Muzi Falconi. Being only 80, we can expect from you many other surprises, both professional and personal. I must stop here before becoming too emotional, with a little final gift. Ciao Tony.
So we are
What a
almost.
special gift, but we have another gift for you because we have another video from Justin Green, President and CEO of the Global Alliance for the Public Relations and Communication, representing more than 300,000 professionals and 100 countries across the world. So let's watch together.
Hello, Milan. I'm Justin Green, President of Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management, representing over 320,000 practitioners and academics right across the whole world. And tonight, I'm delighted to be here. Well, I'm not really because I'm in Dublin and you're having a great time in Milan, but here to join you in the celebration of a brilliant and incredible man, Toni. Not only is he an established academic, but Toni has done more for our profession than anyone else in the world that I know. And to be honest with you, sitting here in Dublin while you're in Milan, I don't think gives a credit to Toni, because I think he is probably one of the most important and influential PR practitioners and academics over the last God knows how long, decades. Anyway, this is not right. It's not right for me to be talking and celebrating with you here in Dublin and you're in Milan through a technology. It's not correct for such a wonderful, outstanding person. So I tell you what, leave it with me for 1 minute and just talk among yourselves and I'll be back to you in 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute, so talk to yourselves there. Back now, hang on.
1 minute.
Maybe less. Woo! Woo! A big hand on this one, people, come on!
Justin Green is with us.
Let's make it here. Justin Green. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, directly from Irish, Justin Green.
Come here on the stage.
Justin, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Hi,
You're welcome.
Justin.
You want some help? Okay. And two. Okay.
Okay, Toni. It's for you.
Hey.
Here you are.
Oh, I've just swam and drove 4,000 miles to be here. I'm a bit tired and I've just got in on the last flight. So apologies if I'm a bit tired. Anyway, we couldn't do this from Dublin, so we had to come here in person. And I want to congratulate an outstanding person. For someone said to me last week, they said to me, the Italian team united Italy when they won the Euros. I told them, my friend Toni has united the world for the last centuries. So,
do you need help, Justin?
not really, no, I think I'm okay. And what I want to do is, I tell you what, Toni, I'm going to give you this.
Yes.
Can we help you, sir?
Oh my God.
So,
a global icon award.
now, let me tell you, this has never ever been presented in the world. And this is a Global Icon Award presented to not Toni, but Sir Toni, right? And on behalf of 126 countries around the globe, representing over 300,000 practitioners and academics, we are here tonight to celebrate and to present the first ever Global Icon Award to a man of outstanding, not only of Italy, not only of Europe. I don't think even globally this award recognizes the achievement of what this guy has done. I think, you know, internationally, globally, and universally, there is no, like, if this guy was to get this award, even space could not contain him, right? So it gives me great pleasure to present the first ever Global Icon Award to Toni. And what I want to say is that Toni was a founder of Global Alliance many, many years ago, 20 years ago. And I am currently inherited all his problems. And for the last 20 years, I've been cleaning up Toni's mess. And I have excelled at it, thank you. And I thought I would have got a round of applause for that, Toni, but obviously I didn't. But thank you. But what I want to do is I want to present this to Toni because he was Global Alliance, for those of you who know what it is, started out as a vision. Like many things, started out as a small thing. But Toni was not content on keeping it small, as he is with everything else. So it has now grown from a handful of organizations through to, as I said, 330,000 practitioners, academics worldwide, across 126 countries. And it has a membership of nearly 80 organizations around the world. So it gives me great pleasure to present this to Sir Toni.
Woo! From one Irishman to another Irishman, because not everybody in the room or around knows that I'm also half Irish, half Anglo-Irish to be exact.
Toni, sorry, does that mean you're going to give me half the fare? Spent coming over?
That's a good.
Do you want to
That's a
keep it
good proposal. We can put it up to the next lottery. Okay, thank you. It was such a surprise, and thank you very much. And actually, we have never physically met. You remember that? You know
our
that.
wife keeps us apart.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But hang on.
Hang on.
Hang on. That's not all, right? I didn't come 4,000 miles for that, right? So.
Oh my God.
So.
And
So what we really have is this.
Oh my God.
Which is, let me take that mic. Which is the outstanding lifetime contribution and professionalism to the global public relations and communications profession on the 22nd of July 2021. And on behalf of the global profession, academics, and professionals around the world, I now present you with this.
A big hand on this one.
My God. Yeah. I'll have to read it 5 times to understand it, but it's wonderful. Thank you very much, Justin. It's such a surprise. I'm very, very surprised. And I guess that's it. Yes, I think that.
Yes. You have no words.
I have
That's it?
no more words except my love, my deepest affection to my colleagues who helped me through all this venture, and Martina is the boss of my group.
Yes.
Martina, thank you very much.
Good. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, and
We are just at the end, I think. Or,
yes.
at least, I hope.
Okay.
Okay. We want to thank you all for having shared with us this experience, this travel. Sarah, you were the most amazing travel companion that I could ask. Toni, thank you for having made all this possible. I told you that it was your fault at the beginning, and so it was. So,
Francesco, sorry.
yeah.
What do you do during a birthday party?
Exactly, I was getting to that.
Yes, so? Happy birthday
To you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Toni. Happy birthday to you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Have a nice time. There is a refresh out there waiting
Yeah.
for you.